So, Oliver, we always hear about globalization, right? But for tech companies, it feels like it's not just a nice to have. It's like absolutely essential, isn't it? I mean, they're just inherently global in a way other industries might not be.
Absolutely, Alex. Absolutely. It's not even a question anymore for tech, really. They exist in a world without borders, don't they? I mean, their very business model so often it's predicated on serving an international client base. If you're a tech company, you can't pull back from that international presence. It's just not an option, you know? It's where the growth is, it's where the opportunities are, and well, frankly, it's where the challenges too are amplified.
Wow. So you're saying like the need for them to be global, it really just outweighs the complexities. Even with all the geopolitical stuff we've seen lately, the trade wars, the currency fluctuations, that's pretty wild to think about, I guess. It truly does, Alex. It truly does. The consensus from experts like Jeff Minnick at Bank of America is that the need to be international, it will outweigh the challenge of being international. But, and this is the big but, you need really, really solid strategies. You can't just stumble into it. You've got to think ahead, seriously de-risk, and just make incredibly smart decisions about where and how you're going to operate. It's all about shock-proofing, really, for when things get a bit wobbly, you know? De-risking and shock-proofing, huh? That sounds like a lot of foresight is involved. So, what does that actually look like for a tech company? Is it about like diversifying everything or what's the core idea there, Oliver?
Good question, Alex. Good question. The main thing really is to think about the long-term play. Don't deviate from your core strategy because of short-term headlines. Jeff Minnick, he actually says, "We have seen this movie before." What's real today might not be in 3 or 6 months. So you can't just let the breaking news, dictate your company's long-term direction. It's about making smart decisions. This might mean for hardware companies especially, rethinking production locations to match revenues and costs better. They're going to go where the customer is, ultimately.
Right, right. So, if you're entering a new country, it can't just be for one reason, like, oh, cheap labor or something like that. You really need multiple goals in mind?
Precisely, precisely. You shouldn't, enter a country for just one reason. You might be looking for a new production facility, or maybe access to engineering talent, or increasing distribution capacity, or even opening a new consumer market. Ideally, you're aiming to accomplish, well, more than one of those goals. And critically, you need a really, really good dialogue with the regulators in that country. And, of course, a deep understanding of how that local market actually works.
That makes total sense. And I guess that's where local connections become like super important, right? Not just for understanding the market, but also for de-risking?
Absolutely, Alex. Absolutely. Those local relationships, they're more important than ever. Ever. If you have someone who knows the talent, the culture, the government, it's just so much less risky than relying on someone outside the company to navigate all that complexity. Sometimes that familiarity comes from a founder or a key executive, someone who just hails from that country. Or you might partner with local operations that have multilingual capabilities. They can keep track of all the regulations, all the policies, all the politics, country by country. It's really, really crucial.
And what about the financial side of things, Oliver? How do companies like shockproof their finances against all this global volatility?
The financial side, critical, absolutely critical. The number one thing Jeff Minnick says is for US-based tech companies to consolidate their banking with one or two providers. This makes it so much easier to get a hold of global cash and allow it to flow between countries and entities. It gives you one global view of your cash position. The alternative, Alex, is, entering a new country, partnering with local lawyers and banks, and then you just end up with a one-off bank. Do that 15 times in 15 countries, and you've got disparate systems, manual data spread all over. It makes cross-country flows incredibly complicated, and getting a macro view of your business, well, virtually impossible. Shock-proofing your financial arrangements is just paramount right now.
Wow, one global view of cash. That's really smart. Now, let's talk talent because some of the hottest places for tech talent are like in areas that are politically speaking a bit complicated, right? Like Ukraine, Israel, China. How do companies navigate that?
Exactly, Alex. Exactly. It's a huge consideration. Tech companies, they really need to look at the ability of governments outside the US to ensure a stable workforce. We saw it in Ukraine, didn't we? Employees had to flee, companies had to find new engineers. That's just one example. So while going overseas can offer lower explicit labor costs, Jeff Minnick stresses that companies need to diversify that overseas workforce. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, really. Geographically diverse engineering talent, that's key to protecting against geopolitical risk today. It's all about not being reliant on just one region.
So, it's not just about finding the talent, but also like making sure you can keep them and bridge those cultural and time zone gaps, I guess.
You've absolutely hit it, Alex. Absolutely. You have to be more astute than ever to navigate those language, time, and cultural gaps effectively. And when it comes to acquisitions, which many tech companies do for talent, you need to test for the right cultural fit. Does the acquisition make cultural sense in addition to financial sense? And structuring deals, especially earn-out agreements, needs to be intentional to retain that talent. You want to make sure it's attractive and lucrative for them to stay on, but also be mindful of currency fluctuations impacting the final cost. It's a careful balance, you know?
Okay, so the current economic environment, it's pretty unpredictable, right? We've seen like fluctuating valuations, tariffs, IPOs getting postponed. How do companies like look ahead and prepare for whatever comes next? Yes, spot on, Alex, spot on. Markets, companies, they just like certainty. And right now, well, we don't have a lot of that, do we? Minnick suggests that really a pause might be a good thing if you can manage it. Wait to see where the dust settles. But he does spy a silver lining, a real silver lining. The discipline that comes from these challenging moments, it's good for tech companies. They'll be better off for having the right rigor in place in terms of business analysis. It's like a forced fitness regime, if you will. So, this period of unpredictability could actually like make them stronger in the long run? Precisely. Paul Taylor, head of the International Commercial Bank at Bank of America, he agrees. If there's a slowdown, when it ramps back up, you will be better positioned for outsized growth if you do the work now. Shockproofing, whether it's driven by national strategies or the global economy, it's a good thing in the long term. As the economy normalizes and growth accelerates again, companies will have an even bigger advantage than before, a real competitive edge. Minnick is bullish on tech, truly. They have faster growth, they scale better and faster, and when things normalize, that will absolutely continue to drive investment, you know?